Welcome to the LA Soccer Hub show. My name is Gio Garcia, and today we have Gustavo Ortega alongside with me. Today is Friday, July 24th. Let me get that correct, July 24th. Gustavo, how you doing?
Hey Gio, how's it going? Hi to everyone who's tuning in on this live stream. A pleasure to be here on this Friday night. Excited to talk about what happened yesterday between the both LA teams, and thank you guys for always keeping in touch with LA Soccer Hub.
Yeah, so obviously a lot happened last night. Obviously, let's start off with LA Galaxy. They had a tied 1-1 finish. Obviously, they needed a three-goal difference. The first goal that came on, it looked like Bingham was kind of caught off guard, or he didn't know what was actually happening. And I think I heard some of the announcers, they were surprised, and it looked like the ball was deflected in there. But when you saw the replay, it looked like it wasn't a deflection, and then he just misread when the ball was coming, and then the ball was in the back of the net. What did you think of I guess David Bingham's position, like just standing there?
Yeah, it's a little tricky because as a goalkeeper, you always have to react into those opportunities from the opponent. Yeah, pretty much got caught him foot flatted, and I think Bingham didn't really go for that. He could probably would have saved that if it wasn't for his late reaction. He probably saw the ball late. You know, when you have the wall, you pretty much give him that side of the post, the left post, to challenge the free kick taker to go into that corner. But yeah, it was kind of an unfortunate play for the goalkeeper who had after that a pretty decent game after that one.
Yeah, and the positive things, I guess, LA Galaxy do walk away with 1 point, but they are scoreless. They are winless in 5 matches, and I've only had 2 points in those 5 matches. So I know a lot of people are very upset. And in a way, also feel like that maybe Guillermo Scalotto is maybe on the hot seat, maybe is not. Let's talk about it a little bit because we also had our news earlier today. Atlanta United and their head coach Frank DeBoer parted. They went their separate ways, and you could tell because obviously Atlanta United didn't even score a single goal. They lost all 3 games and they didn't even score. Obviously, we know they're missing Joseph Martinez, but seeing them without Joseph Martinez, they're a completely different team.
Right.
And I also add that LA Galaxy are missing both obviously Chicharito and Jonah Dos Santos, and at times they have looked good. I think they just haven't been able to finish certain games, and they in this tournament they look like they're running out of gas. So what do you make of the Guillermo Scalotto situation with the Galaxy?
Yeah, Gio, it's a tough situation because, like you said, they're pretty much on the hot seat. He's on the hot seat. Every coach is. I mean, if you don't give results, then you're pretty much your job is on the line every single day. And to start the season with 5 games and only 2 draws, no wins, 3 losses, it's pretty tough for Escaloto because like we talked before the live stream that Escaloto was pretty much missing key players like Dos Santos and as well as Chicharito, who only played against Portland the first game and then came back to Los Angeles after that injury. And yeah, it's a very short team, pretty much too. They don't have that much depth as opposed to other teams. They do have a limited resources. They do have to rely on players from Galaxy too. I did see a couple young players yesterday come into the game and pretty much give another face into the team, like Efrain Alvarez, who for me was a game changer in the second half. Pretty aggressive on the front lines and the final third. But yeah, it's misfortunate for LA Galaxy to just be eliminated out of this tournament. The team had a high expectations because it was for me the group of death, Group F. Unfortunately, they needed the result, the 3-0 or more. But once that goal came for Houston Dynamo, pretty much it was over for LA Galaxy because they had to score 4 or more goals in order for them to qualify.
Yeah, and I think is the biggest. I guess some of the positives that happened for the LA Galaxy Mirzal Zubac, who started up top. Hanson Diaz didn't keep his run going. Maybe he wasn't expecting
Yeah.
he was going to get the ball, but at that point, I mean, just keep running, and that could have just gave them 3 points, and they could have walked away at least with the win, at least with 3 points that's going to go towards the season. He was a positive outside of him not being able to make that final run. Also, Cameron Dunbar, who's 17 years old, and Gordon Wild. Those guys being able to come in and play. I just wish I would have saw more of them. And I think the biggest thing about Guillermo Schelotto is he's been on the hot seat at least from the media. From so I know some of the cover the Galaxy is the substitutions and when he's making those substitutions. I feel like from what I understood, believes that most of his players weren't gassed out at the previous match against LAFC, and it looked like they were. I think that's been the biggest criticism of him is when he's putting in those subs and how he's using the subs and not using the capability. He has the capability of using 5 subs, but he's not using them up. And I think that's been the more critical. And obviously, like we said, he's winless in 5 games, and this is Galaxy's worst start to a year. Obviously, we do also have to acknowledge we had the pandemic. They stopped for 4 months and came back and play, and then you lose two out of the 3 superstars. So I think there's a lot going on here. Obviously, if you're a Galaxy fan, you're just frustrated, especially when LAFC beats you the way they did. So I know it's a tough pill to swallow. And on top of that, you haven't won anything. You haven't, those last 2 seasons haven't been that successful. If Galaxy, I think if they didn't win or, if they didn't show anything positive, if they didn't win yesterday and they got the completely beat up like they did by LAFC, then he would have been a little bit more on the hot seat because then you would start to see that if they lost again like they lost to LAFC, then I would have been like, okay, the players don't really have his back. The players don't really, in a way, respect him and stuff. But that's not what they have. That's not what happened. They came out and fought, and they were able to get the tie. They had a chance to get the win. So I think for right now, he will save it. He will have his job. But once the season returns here in about a month or so, I think the pressure is going to start to build on Guillermo Schelotto.
Yeah, you're totally correct, Gio, because you do have that pressure of, like you said, I mean, before last year, the Galaxy missed the playoffs 2 years in a row, and to lose to their rivals in the Western Conference semifinals the way they did, it was pretty bad. And now allowing another 6 against LAFC, I mean, only 1 point out of 9 possible in this tournament. It's a pretty tough situation for not just Schelotto but all of LA Galaxy, because they do have to live up to that expectation of being one of the great clubs of MLS. I mean, you're the 5-time champion, so you have to show for it. I know sometimes clubs do go through rebuilding stuff, rebuilding clubs. But yeah, it's as a Galaxy organization, you have to always be fighting for the top positions, and for you to go through this tough stretch. It's only 5 games, and there's a lot of games left, and I think they'll get it together once the team starts getting healthy. They're gonna be off for a month now until probably August 22nd, and it's a long time, but it's still a way to get players back like Chicharito and Jonathan Dos Santos.
Yeah, and I'm trying to play a clip that I was trying to upload from Joe Corona, but it's not uploading. If I get it again, if I get it to upload, I'll definitely put it up here. Pretty much, it was just a statement that I'll just read off what he had said after the press conference. Obviously, he was very disappointed on the way they finished the season, and he said there's a lot of disappointment right now. Things didn't go as expected. And, they just have, like he said, they just didn't go as expected. And he understood that there's work to be done. But I think Joe Corona was also a positive side. And then if you're able to get Jonah Dos Santos back, you do have a strong midfield there. And it's just figuring that last piece with Chicharito, seeing how, because I really felt like this was Chicharito's tournament to showcase his talent and to showcase to everybody and pretty much kind of shut everybody up, but he ended up getting injured, which is unfortunate. Here, I'm going to go ahead and play the video right now. Give me 1 second, see if it'll play.
Like you said, we leave with a lot of disappointment.
The video looks like it's not playing correctly, but just pretty much he was disappointed. They asked him, how he could how the team could potentially build on this, and what they can build on this from there. And I think it's just about getting those guys back, Jonathan Dos Santos and Chicharito, and going back to the drawing board, and hopefully having the team fully healthy once the regular season kicks off. So I want to move on to yesterday's LAFC versus Portland Timbers game. 2-2 draw. They started the game down a goal. That we're used to seeing LAFC, at least in this tournament, be down, and then come back, and that's what they did. So they were able to bounce back, and they got the lead. It was 2-1. I think it was in the first half, and it was just incredible to see. And then they at that point with the 2-1 lead, they were the number one. They were winning the group, and then the 81st minute comes in, and the Timbers score, and then LAFC fall second in the group, and the Timbers move on to be the first place team. I know Bob Bradley said he was very disappointed in the way they played. It took him a while to come back, come to the media room and talk to us. I just felt that I think one of the things that they struggle with, that they don't have an answer for, and I don't think they'll have an answer for at least in this tournament, is the replacement of Dio with Bradley Wright Phillips. Bradley Wright Phillips has done an amazing job. He scored 3 goals in the first 3 games. I mean, he's 34 years old, but he doesn't look like it. He's playing solid. The only thing is he can't give you 90 minutes. He's playing about, I think, 60 to 70 minutes a game. And I didn't get a chance to ask Bob Bradley this. Maybe I'll get a chance next press conference. But I want to know, because the person that came in for Bradley Wright Phillips was Andy Nahar. That's who subbed him out. So you're up 2-1 in the 67th minute. There's still 20 minutes left in the game. And if you don't have another offensive weapon to replace Bradley Wright Phillips, or you don't have him for full 90 minutes, in a way, I feel like they're not as strong as a team up top, because you're not replacing one for one. You're just replacing a player for a different player, and it's a little tricky right there, because I think once Bradley Wright Phillips is out, they lose their precision up top. They lose that extra threat up top. And I think right now LAFC doesn't have. If the game is closed like it was last night, and when they play the Sounders, I think the same thing may potentially happen. I don't know, how do you look at things?
Yeah, it was a great matchup between the Portland Timbers and as well the LAFC, a 2-2 draw that was very interesting. Wright Phillips once again coming up big in these games. What a strike he took out to pretty much even out the game, give that hope to LAFC, and then LAFC once again from a set piece of the corner kick, Mark Anthony Kaye coming out strong with a header, putting it to 1 before the halftime. And yeah, it's a little alarming to not have that substitution for Wright Phillips, who was having an outstanding game so far. But it's like we mentioned it on the last live stream, Gio. If it was a close game, be careful with either or team, because they were able to respond quickly after being in a deficit. So yeah, both teams really showed the grit, and hats off to the Timbers, who played a great match, who avoided playing against the defending champions, the Sounders, on Monday after winning the Group F on yesterday. But yeah, it's a little questions that rise up once you start thinking when it comes to LAFC and the knockout stage. Who are they going to have in order to replace their 9? I mean, they did have a lot of opportunities to score, but unfortunately they didn't last night. And I think Wright Phillips is the main man right now. Besides, I mean, you're missing Carlos Vela and now Dio. So he's the guy who's going to be scoring your goals. And the question is, who or what man is going to step up to take that responsibility when he's not on the field.
And I just want to add to that. They do have subs up top. They do have out forward. They have Christian Torres, who's an academy player, and Danny Musovski. Neither of those two players played the last two games.
Right.
Danny Musovski didn't come in. Christian Torres didn't come in when LAFC was beating LA Galaxy 6-2. None of those two players came in for Bradley Wright Phillips, and they didn't come in yesterday when they were down when they were up 2-1. So that tells me. And then I just want to add Adrian Perez. Also wasn't in the subs. So that makes me think that his injury is a lot more serious, and I don't think we'll see him in this tournament. So literally, if you're LAFC, you only got two subs at top. Those two guys, and those two guys are not going to help you. If you haven't put them in now, those two guys are not going to help you win games. So I think LAFC are really capped at 70 minutes. If they're not winning the game by like 3-1 or something like that, or they're not able, if it's a close game like it is again, they got to really. I can see LAFC winning a 2-1 close game, but they got to be better. Like that second goal that came in, it was a little bit I can't even say the word lazy on their part, because it was two headers. When there's typically two headers inside the box, you know what happened? It goes in back of the net, and that's what happened. Right. So I think they just got to be a little bit more effective on the defensive end and the box, because once you know you're not going to have that attack on the forward side, and you don't have someone replacing him, the game is gonna tighten up for LAFC, because when you look for that offensive player, it's not gonna be there. And I don't think Brian Rodriguez or Rossi are gonna be able to do it on their own. They need Bradley Wright Phillips. So I'm very interested to see how this game against the Sounders goes.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great game, a rematch from last year's conference, the West Conference final. Unfortunately, LAFC lost at home 3-1. I was at that game. It was a tough loss for LAFC in front of their home crowd.
Tough loss.
But, yeah, and then I think Sounders still pretty much the same team, man. They're very stacked up front. Rui Diaz, Morris. You have Roldan as well in the midfield. A very compacted and well-balanced team that is the Sounders, who have been really successful in the past years. You know, as we saw, two titles in the last 5 years. So I think it's a very competitive team. They bounce back after having a slow start in the tournament. They can score plenty of goals, and they're very well defensively organized. So it's going to be a tough match for LAFC, especially without Vela, one of their top goal scorers and as well as playmakers.
Yeah, and this is one of the rivals. I think Eduardo Atuesta said it perfectly. I was reading an article by The Athletic that he considered LA Galaxy obviously the rivals, the Timbers the rivals, and the Seattle Sounders. And right after people knew that it was going to be LAFC against us, the Seattle Sounders, on Twitter, the Seattle Sounders posted a video of them winning the semifinals trophy at Bank of California Stadium, where they beat them 3-1. And I was like, oh man, it's on. I like what the Sounders are doing, I like what they're doing, and just spark the flame right there between the rivalry, because it's real.
A little trolling, no?
Yeah, a little, exactly, trolling in the shorter words. But yeah, I mean, the Sounders know how to play LAFC. I have Carlos Vela. And they play LAFC really, really tough, and they hit them. They hit LAFC. I think they were the best team that played LAFC. They played the game so perfect, and really made LAFC play Sounders game. The Sounders game in the Western Conference Final. And I know a lot of the players want their shot to eliminate the Sounders from this tournament, and it's gonna be an exciting game. I just think it's gonna come down to that 70th minute. It's gonna come down to the defense. If LAFC are winning, are you gonna be able to hold that lead? Because they didn't show that against the Timbers, and the Sounders are a much tougher team than the Timbers. I believe, I know they haven't had a great tournament. The first game they tied against the San Jose Earthquakes. The second game, I believe they lost to Chicago 2-1. And then the final game, they picked everything up and they won 3-0 against the Vancouver Whitecaps. I just think that this is going to be a very, very, very tough game. And they got to play if not the best game, they got to be smarter. We know they're more explosive, but I think they're going to have to just be smarter because this is a team that's going to come, hit them hard. They're gonna make sure LAFC knows who the sounder is, remind them and stuff like that. And I think if just LAFC is able to mentally prepare themselves for the game, I think it's more mental. This is a game that's more mental than anything else because both teams are talented. It's going to come down to the mental: who's stronger, who's more emotional, balance
Who
up
wants it
here,
more? Yeah.
who wants and who's going to want it more. I think that's going to come down to that.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be a very close matchup between these two. Very similar styles of plays. Yeah, but we see now with LAFC kind of struggling on the defensive side, but a lot of goals when it comes to creating chances. So I mean, if we see the LAFC that we saw in the first two games of the second halves, I think they have a chance, a shot of beating the defending champions, the Sounders. But if we see an LAFC where pretty much it crumbles down in the last couple of minutes in the second half of the game against Portland, they're gonna be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I know this is a little crazy, but if I was Bob Bradley, this may make sounds crazy, but if I was Bob Bradley, I would play the video of the Sounders beating LAFC 3-1, just to open up that wound. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And get them a little pissed off. I would play a little like, hey, look how we lost. We don't want that to happen again. I would do something like that just to get them motivated and get them going. Because I think that's what they need to do, and I think that's how they're gonna have to play. I mean, I hope Riley Wright Phillips plays more than 70 minutes, but it's not looking like it. One thing I do want to add: Andy Nahar played 23 minutes. That is a very positive thing. I know Bob Bradley had mentioned that he wanted to be conservative and bring him in. Maybe he could play 30 minutes of this game, or potentially 40. I don't know how they're breaking up his minutes, but having him come in and play, he's just another explosive. Because once he came in, Latif went back to the midfield and he took over Latif's spot on the right hand side. But I should also mention Latif, man, for LAFC. He could play from forward to mid to defender. And if he was a little taller, he probably played goalie.
Center back too.
He play any position, and he's excellent.
He has heart. He has a lot of heart, a lot of hustle.
A lot of heart, a lot of hustle. But he also understands how to play that certain position. And he's given right now. I feel like he's given a lot of LAFC a lot of room to breathe, because I think Latif's spot is in the midfield for LAFC.
Right.
Whether it's on the right or the center, wherever they put him. He is that with him, Latif, Eduardo Tuesta, and Kay. I mean, they're solid right there. I mean, but I just like that Bob Bradley has a player like Latif, and to be able to use him to slowly bring back.
Versatile.
Very versatile, and slowly bring back Andy Nahar. And we'll have to see how many minutes Andy Nahar will play this next game.
Yeah, definitely. I think Latif was one of the best players of last night's game in the draw against the Portland Timbers. Very, very. He was very strong on those 50-50 balls. He pretty much never gave up on any balls that were on the field. So I think it's important to have players like that know what is at stake. And I'm sure if he transmits that energy into his teammates, LAFC is going to be good for this game. Yeah.
LAFC is going to be a good one. So I didn't mean to read the chat. We have some people saying LA Galaxy sucks. We have some cuss words over here I can't put up there. But people, like that. I like that that we've been able to build somewhat of a community here that between both LAFC and LA Galaxy fans. Don't
remember, it's a sport. It's a game. Don't get
it's a game. Don't get too
excited.
Even though some people get a little too excited, you know what I'm saying? But keep commenting on Facebook, guys. I see Andres Torres and Martin Gutierrez. Thank you for commenting that on Facebook. But yeah, so another breaking news. This is not official. This may be official next week, but the Athletic started to report. Let me see if I can play this. Let me see. Here we go. I want to show this. The Athletic reported that they're going to have to return on August 22nd to return to play to in-market home games. And what that means is they're going to play a total of 18 games in two different phases. So the goal is to play these first two phases. The reason why they're going to do that, they're going to play the two different phases is because you have teams in Canada, and then within the first phase, they're going to play. I think they're going to play 6 games. And the reason I want to do that is because all the Canada teams can play each other, as many different times. Because I think obviously there's rules, there's some laws going on right now that teams from America can't travel there or play there. The Toronto Blue Jays couldn't play even in their home market in MLB baseball. So I think that. So on the second phase is when they're going to play the 12 remaining games. And then another thing to add is I believe December 12th is when it's the MLS playoff final. Cool thing about this, depending where the market is or depending where the teams are, some in-home markets will be allowed to have fans in home stadiums. It's up to the local and state laws. So we're in California, in Chicago, New York, Texas, or wherever. It's up to the local and state laws. MLS is saying, yeah, we're going to allow fans, but on the guidelines that the local and state officials, so they got to follow those. So I don't know what that means for Los Angeles, because Los Angeles is on the brink of shutting down again, or so I don't know what that means. So maybe that means media gets to go. I don't know. What do you make of all this news?
I mean, it's a good thing that the MLS will be playing in their home markets. I mean, most of the LA teams, and as well as other MLS clubs who will be participating. Yeah, it's 18 games, but I mean, it's pretty much what you need in order for them to secure playoff spots and all that stuff. But I think in regards to having fans in the stadium, it seems a little tough because we're not doing our part here in LA. So please, if you guys want to enjoy sports on their stadiums or go to the not just soccer but other sports, do your part, and I think we'll be set. But I think it's good news to see that the MLS is trying to promote that the fans will be allowed only if the state or the city laws allows them to. But I think it's up to the people if they want to be in it, because if they don't do their part, it's gonna be challenging for them to see the clubs at home.
Yeah, and it is, and it's gonna be tricky. But I think the reason why, like states like Florida, Texas, or whatever, every state is different. And obviously, I'm assuming, I don't have no word, I'm assuming fans are going to be required to wear masks. I'm assuming that they're going to have potentially, I have no word on this as of yet, but it's going to be assuming 20%, 25% max capacity. I don't see 100% capacity. But that also means, though, if you have like the Atlanta United, who has an NFL stadium which seats 80,000 people, 20% capacity, I mean, you're looking at about 15,000 fans, or something like that. That's you can almost fill up Bank of California Stadium with that many people, or Dignity Health Sports Park with the LA Galaxy play. This is what's just coming to my mind right now. If I was an LA team, LAFC or LA Galaxy, I would try to play in a football stadium just so I can max how many people I can get to a game.
Right.
Does that make sense?
I get it. And teams like the New York City FC might not even have home games because they play at Yankee Stadium, and they're still working on getting their new stadium out. But yeah, teams like that can be affected by it too as well. But yeah, like you said, I mean, why not aim for the Coliseum, the Rose Bowl, for the LA teams, or even the new football stadium down the street on Inglewood for the Rams, the Chargers.
That's SoFi. That would be sick if they were able to do
Imagine.
that.
But yeah, it seems tough
because if you only do 20% of what Bank of California holds 23, round around there for Dignity Health Sports Park, that's only I can't do the math right now, but it's only a couple thousand people, maybe 2,000
right.
people.
It's not a lot.
It's not a lot.
And then you have to make sure they keep their distance too. You have to separate the fans a couple of seats away from each other and stuff like that. So it's something to figure out. But I mean, they still have a month. Hopefully things get better by then. But I mean, we all got to do our part and staying safe out there for not just for us, but if we want to enjoy live sports again.
Yeah. live sports, which we all want to do. I mean, it's good seeing. I mean, it is weird that we see baseball up there. I was watching some of the baseball
With the
games
cutout boards.
Yeah, with the cutout boards, not just that, but also like I don't know, baseball is a kind of a hard. If you watch it, it's a little slow. Like you really got to be in a baseball to watch the game on TV. But now even seeing without fans, it just seems so much slower to me because there's not as much action like there is in the NBA or like soccer. It's just like as much, But it just looks very, very dead without fans, and then just hearing the commentators talk and stuff like that. It's just not as a fun of sport, to me. I don't know. But I hope we do get to have fans, in LA, depending how everything happens. I know there's a lot of like tricky laws and everything you have to go through and stuff like that. Because I know the teams are too. One thing that I also wanted to add, like LAFC sent out a thing yesterday that LAFC and Clear, if you know who Clear is, a company that does it's kind of like the TSA. At the airport. I don't want to describe their company, but that's the gist of it. So they have up to provide complimentary co-branded masks. LAFC will produce and distribute over 100,000. I'm just reading the quote. 100,000 co-branded face masks. So I tweeted about this. It's pretty cool. They have a black one, and then also have like a gold one, or black and gold one. So they're giving those. They have 100,000. So depending how many people are allowed to go to those games, they may be there for fans, So that looks pretty. That's a pretty cool incentive to have masks. And I also read that they're going to give people hand sanitizers and stuff like that. I just think the tricky thing is for people working the gate, because some people are not going to want to wear the mask, or some people, if that's what took me to watch a game, I wouldn't mind wearing a mask because I just love sports so much. So
it's simple. I think if you don't wear a mask, you can't go in.
Yeah.
You have to be. It's not just for yourself, but for the people also working there at the game,
Yeah, exactly. So, to me, that wouldn't be die hard. So that wouldn't bother me. But yeah, it's a cool incentive, and it's a cool partnership that LAFC is doing. Just to you get a little giveaway, and then you get a rep around the city and stuff. But yeah, that's all the news that we have today. Is there anything else you want to add, Gustavo?
No, well, just excited to MLS announce. Well, not just officially, but as a rumor that it might come back on August 22nd. Bad news for LA Galaxy because that's a month from now. But that gives them time to recover players, like we said, Chicharito or Jonathan Dos Santos. And hopefully the transfer market, they take advantage of it. I believe it starts next month already.
Yeah, it starts in August. Yeah,
in August.
Is it August? Oh, man.
I think August. Well, it's just to start the 1st of August, but
I think it's the first week, but I don't remember the dates.
But they might extend it because of the whole COVID, and teams are still playing in Europe, but yeah, I think excited to see that. Hopefully, everything works out for the best, and hopefully, we see a great match between the LAFC and the Seattle Sounders on Monday night.
Exactly. So, guys, so Monday night, it's I believe at 8:00, and I think that's on FS1. There's going to be another entertainment match. It's going to be a chess match.
Monday Night Football.
Monday night. Yeah, Monday Night Football. So it's going to be exciting to see that and see. Fortunately, LA Galaxy fans just got to go back to the drawing board. I wish the team was still moving on so we could talk about both LA teams. But I think this is a positive thing because you're going to, by the time the season starts, if it is August 22nd, you're going to have both. You're going to have all three of your superstars hopefully healthy, hopefully ready to go. And then hopefully this month gives them a little bit more to get back in shape, go back to the drawing board and see, and also see if they can capitalize on the transfer market and, potentially add some pieces to that. But yeah, Monday night game's going to be fun. Gustavo, let the people know where they can follow you.
Well, yes, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Gustavo_A_Ortega, just how you see it on the bottom of your screen. So right there, we tweet about games. Reach out if you have any questions. Would you like to see more on the podcast or the live stream? We're here for you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah, guys, also please subscribe to the podcast. We got that on Apple Podcasts at LA Soccer Hub. You can listen on Spotify. Obviously, you can watch these live streams, whether we put them up on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. So check us out there. Please give us subscribe us on podcast, and if you're doing an Apple, give us a 5-star rating or give us a rating, whatever you like. Tell us, just trying to get the word out there. But yeah, that's it, guys. That's gonna wrap today's show, and we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.